I'm having I'm having troubles with all the clickers this morning. Good morning, everybody. This is the All About Nothing podcast, kind of daily show. I am Barrett Gruber, host of the All About Nothing podcast, with Zach King, and you can find me on social media at Barrett Gruber. With me is Mr. Bill Kimler, who is the host of Black, White, and Blue in the South with Dr. Jamil Brooks. You can follow him at politicalbillsc. Welcome, Bill. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I have an announcement to make.
Please.
Over on Black, White, and Blue in the South, Dr. Jamil Brooks and I, next weekend will be doing live play-by-play of a pickleball tournament here in Greenwood. And we couldn't be more excited. We have a roving reporters going to be wandering around the pickleball courts, interviewing the players. And it's a very exciting new direction we're heading in. We're getting away from political and comedy podcasting and going right to play-by-play pickleball.
It's not a bad move. The content writes itself. Big money. Hey, I pulled some of the Ron Varro quotes out of the Peter Navarro
Did
books.
You really?
I did.
What a callback.
One of them. I'm gonna read a few of the notable ones.
Do you want to give a little context as to who Ron Varro is and why you're reading Ron Varro quotes? He's now my hero.
Ron Varro is no one. Ron Varro is the made up. He is the anagram of Peter Navarro's last name. He was a former trade advisor for President Trump during his first term. And he fabricated this fictional expert named Ron Varro as to cite him in several of his books. I'm trying to reconnect. It's saying I'm trying to reconnect. I'm not sure. You're still seeing me, I assume. But he created this character to bolster, I guess, some of his arguments in the books that are now for sale on the Amazon. And Peter Navarro is a Harvard educated individual, I guess, economist. He's a Gulf War veteran, and Trump used him as his trade advisor during his first term. Now, he did some prison time back in 2024, about 4 or 5 months. But these are just some of the notable quotes that were made up, completely fictional.
Now, was this Dr. Ron Varro? Professor Ron Varro?
He didn't attach. That may have been the only thing that he didn't go too far on, is to give him some sort of a classification as an intelligence. Okay. But Ron Varro said only the Chinese can turn a leather sofa into an acid bath, a baby crib into a lethal weapon, and a cell phone battery into a heart-piercing shrapnel. He also said,
I thought those were the Israelis. Didn't they have the exploding pagers?
Yes, they did. But that was prior. That was well after Ron Varro was creating quotes for. So
they got their ideas from Ron Varro,
potentially
who was, advising the military. Got it.
Potentially. So he also said, you've got to be nuts to eat Chinese food. He said, the manufacturing dragon is ferocious. The colonial dragon is relentless. The American eagle is asleep at the wheel. And I'm assuming that was about Obama, because that would have been about the time span that was written. Now, Ron Varro, see, now I'm confusing the two of them. Peter Navarro ran for Congress during Clinton's time as a Democrat, an extremely left, liberal, progressive Democrat. And I guess, at some point he made the change. Maybe it was a patriotic 9/11 sort of maneuver, but Ron Varro is, I keep calling him Ron Varro. It's Peter Navarro is the actual person. Ron Varro is the made up one.
What do you make of those people who decide one day to wake up and they're now a different party?
Opportunists. Yeah, I think that it is a strategic maneuver, and I've talked about doing it. The potential of becoming a Republican in my district just to run against some of the Republicans that.
Yeah, but it's not. I'm going to pause you there. So I'm not seeing this as strategic, where then you get into office and then your own values come out and you just snuck your way in. I'm talking about people who. One day they're for marriage equality and women's rights, and then the next day they say, yeah, you know what, I'm no longer that way.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I have
you've interviewed people who ran for Congress and decided to flip, and then
Yep.
all of their values and all of their stated beliefs are no longer their stated beliefs. How do you switch like that?
Yeah, it is a hard segue. Like, it is a hard turn that someone had to take in order to do that. And you're talking about Judd Larkin specifically,
Hmm.
and I'll just mention his name because he's popped up several times recently, especially in
Recently,
conversations.
no kidding, because he's completely fallen off the map as far as I'm concerned.
There's only because I have seen on some Facebook chat or some Facebook
Uh,
responses, he has there has I and it may have been out of context, but he has made a praise or two for one of the recent targets of both of our shows, which was Curtis Loftus.
hold on, time out, time out. You're saying that this guy opened his trap to praise Curtis Loftus?
There was a little bit of hero.
Support.
Yeah, yeah. It
Good Lord. I
was.
mean, did you hear what happened yesterday with Curtis Loftus? Are
No,
you
I
that tuned
didn't.
in?
Please enlighten me.
So Curtis Loftus is the state treasurer of South Carolina. He is extremely far MAGA. I mean, he is
Oh yeah.
far too politically opinionated for a treasurer. I mean, everything he's doing as a treasurer is within the context of wokeness and far leftness. I mean, just plug and play all the speak and spell MAGA phrases, and then you've got our treasurer. So it
Yeah.
is what it is. The problem is that he has done a terrible job as treasurer, even creating a $1.8 billion missing money, fake money, unknown account error that cost us as a state several $1,000,000 in forensic accounting to
Yeah.
come in and figure it out. One day he tells the state Senate that this is cashable money that's earning interest. Come on in and I'll collect it for you.
I'll write you a
Then
check.
a year later, it was never real money. It was just an accounting error, and it was the comptroller general's fault, not mine. So he's lying to Congress. He even threatened to release the state's financial data on social media. And the governor, who was doped up on medications coming out of knee surgery, had to make a personal call to stop him from releasing the state's books online.
This was yesterday.
Anyhow, the
Oh no.
South
Okay. I see.
Carolina State Senate held a hearing yesterday in a unique move that's never been done before. So this is a first time, Barrett, history breaking. They're recommending his removal. It's kind of impeachment light is how Representative Heather Bauer described it.
Yeah.
But in an overwhelming vote, it was like 23-6, something like that. And there were several senators who weren't even there. But even a lot of Republicans have said, listen, man, you're not fit for this job and we recommend your removal. So now I think it goes down to the House.
Wow.
And, you know, this could get ugly. I'm looking forward to watching that hearing because he's got to be there. I think they hold the hearing in front of him, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm surprised that even my own state senator was quoted as saying, listen, man, you scared the shit out of us when you said you were going to release all that financial info. I mean, we're talking account numbers, bank records, dollar amounts.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I think there's I for some of the members of the GOP, I think even for some members of the MAGA wing of the GOP, I think that there is a threshold to the amount of crazy that they will take. I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying that some of them that are on the fringe or even more moderate in that they're MAGA light, whatever.
Are you saying that there are some MAGA Republicans that won't curse at their constituents at the grocery store?
Oh, so
do some of those exist still, or are they all screaming banshees?
I desperately wanted to put together that package so that I could show it, but unfortunately, the size of the file is too large to actually upload into Riverside. So I can play some of it right here.
No, don't play any of it.
You don't
just
play
reenact
it.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll pretend you are Nancy Mace. Slap on that wig and put on the crazy eyes, and you can be Nancy Mace out there grocery shopping, and
this is the best
launching
I'm
into
a.
Oh, that's close enough.
So yeah. So Nancy Mace, apparently within the last few days, and this idiot posted it on her own social media, but she gets into an argument with one of her, I'm assuming it was a constituent because they were both shopping in the same makeup store. I don't think a lot of people go out of town.
Oh, it wasn't the grocery store. It was Ulta. That's right.
Yeah,
They were in Ulta.
Which I didn't even know that was a thing. I wasn't aware
Listen,
of it.
I've got, wife and daughters.
Yeah.
So I've had to wander into Ulta for gifts, and I walk in and the clerks just all turn and look at me. They're like, dude, this is not a GameStop. This is not a Home Depot. You are lost, my friend. And they all immediately come over to help because they realize that either I'm a predator or I'm just a clueless dad.
That's what I thought. I totally thought you walk in there and they're like, oh, this man needs facial cream. Let's go. We're going to go back to the back room.
Yeah, I get a complete makeover in the back.
So Nancy Mace does what Nancy Mace does best, and that is interact with people. She gets into an argument with a gentleman who is he's gay, or he's allegedly, because I'm guessing.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't see him announce that he was.
He didn't. But she immediately decided to say that I voted for gay marriage twice. Now, I don't believe that I'm not sure where she got that from, because I don't think that gay marriage has been up for a vote in Congress, unless that was South Carolina.
Well, I'm thinking South Carolina.
Okay.
She was a House rep in South Carolina, and there has been, there's been, bills
attempts
on that. Yeah.
So she gets into basically the only thing he asked her, which triggered her, was he asked her if there were going to be any more town halls this year. And she said, well, you should have. Yes, that she has a dozen a year. And then he said, great. And then I think at that point he was probably ready to move on, but then she continued it. But she said, you should have attended the ones last year, which almost is an indication of, no, I'm not holding anymore. You missed your chance. You should have gone last year. And then she says it again, that she holds 10 or 12 a year. And it's like, it was such a weird, unhinged, like, I mean, you said it best. She's completely unhinged.
There's dueling cameras going too. So both of them whip out their phones. This is the new Wild Wild West. Instead of whipping out your guns and taking shots, people are whipping out their phones.
Yeah.
And who can record the video faster. So you've got two different angles from two different people recording the same thing. Nancy Mace heavily edited hers before she sent it out to her social media.
Oh.
And then he caught the full thing, and right away she's insulting his dress. Like he's wearing a dress. I'm saying she's insulting his outfit.
Yeah.
Maybe his shorts were a little on the tight side, but I think all of us have shorts in our drawers that we're holding on to and hope that we fit into them a little bit better the next summer. And I'm sure that was his wish.
I've been to Krispy Kreme and had an extra donut or two. Come on.
But in terms of, you are a U.S. Congressperson, and her mental stability really is in question.
Yeah.
She has taken a deep dive, and I'm wondering if this position has become too much for her. And believe me, it's nothing to do with her being a female representative, because obviously there are many female representatives that I highly respect, and boy, I think they're incredible people.
Yeah.
But they also conduct themselves a hell of a lot better than Nancy Mace does on a day-to-day basis. She gets, and everything she does, she's a victim too. You realize that she is the biggest bully in Congress, where she has personally targeted an individual congresswoman from Delaware, and just call her out by name, help enact laws that banish her. I mean, she is a targeting individual. And then every time that anybody questions her on it or confronts her, she is now a victim. Remember, somebody shook her hand, and next thing you know, she's in the hospital with the sling.
Right.
And the judge threw out this assault case that she had against that guy, saying there is no evidence that you were injured from a handshake.
Yeah, and of course now she is one of the growing list of Republicans that plan on running for the governor position here in South Carolina.
So I'm conflicted on this. Do we want her for governor? Do we say stick her in and let's watch the state burn down, and maybe then people will learn their lessons? Like, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom, as any recovering addict knows. You got to hit that rock bottom before recovery can begin. And I'm wondering, do we as a state need to hit that rock bottom? And will Nancy Mace help accelerate it?
I think that is a legitimate question. It's uncomfortable to think that we could potentially be moving that direction. I thought we were at rock bottom. I guess we aren't yet,
Nope.
but because right now we're at the point where the Republicans in South Carolina have a supermajority. They have control of the House with enough that they don't ever have to worry about Democrats having any impact on any of the bills. They have complete control of the Senate, and no Democratic influence whatsoever is necessary. And then, of course, the governorship and the lieutenant governor. So it's a complete supermajority. And the question that I ask is, how is South Carolina improving right now with all of this control that the Republicans have? They literally have no dependency on Democrats for votes whatsoever. Where is South Carolina making strong strides towards progress, which I know is never, it's never good to mention Republicans and progress at the same time, because it sort of flip-flops on what the words mean. Oxymorons, I guess, would be as close as I could come to that. But where are we at when talking about things like gun violence in South Carolina?
Well, we're among the worst states, as you know. We'll say it. It's almost hackneyed at this point, but we're at the bottom in education, at the bottom in poverty, at the bottom in violence, at the bottom in medical debt. All of these truly serious issues, and yet they congratulated themselves on pushing through an anti-DEI bill. That will fix anything for anybody.
Yeah.
You can't find one victim out there from so-called DEI problems, yet that is where they have spent their entire session focusing. It's ridiculous. So I think they still need to hit rock bottom. They have not found it yet.
I think Pete Hegseth is now being considered a DEI hire because of
DUI hire.
DUI hire. Maybe yes. I said that wrong. DUI hire. Pete Hegseth is now involved in yet another scandal involving the same app, which was he had in another Signal group chat on his phone a conversation with his wife, his brother, I think it was his personal attorney, where he was also relaying attack plans for this Yemen attack that with
it's
two F-18
perfectly
fighters.
Appropriate behavior from the leader of the Pentagon. That's what you would expect, is that you would bring your maid into a Signal chat and conduct foreign affairs that way. Of course,
even in the joke, it makes me uncomfortable. So one of the and agree with me or not, but I think one of the ways that you can tell when the White House is about to abandon you is when everything's falling apart, but yet Donald Trump will come out and say that he is in full support of Pete Hegseth as the Secretary of Defense, which is now what has happened. So now the clock is ticking, because he's going to get fired, or he's going to be forced to resign. And because the White House is already in search of a new I
put this post up here yesterday. I said, you've got Pete Hegseth and yet another Signal scandal.
Yeah.
You've got the Secretary of Homeland Security having her personal bag that contained thousands of dollars in cash, passport, Homeland Security credentials stolen from her at her restaurant. You've got the Secretary of Health and Human Services that can't go a day without saying something completely dumb. You've got this Secretary of Treasury who is in a power struggle with Elon Musk in hiring and firing. Like they're appointing and firing and appointing and firing the same position in a week. 3 different people running the IRS in the same week because of this power struggle. I'm trying to find a common thread among all of these department heads and just trying to think, what do they have in common that has led us to have the most inept administration in the world? What could possibly be the common thread between them all?
Ron Varro said, what do capital punishment and profitable stock market investing have in common? They both depend on the execution.
There's your chief of staff, Ron Varro.
It's the end times. Somebody, I can't remember exactly the context, but they were talking about the Confederacy, and obviously when the Confederacy was beginning to fall, when the generals and the
I thought you were about to say the
officers,
Germans.
the German, yeah, when the generals and the officers recognized that everything was coming to an end, they all started fleeing the South. They all started fleeing the country. And I think if once we start seeing some of these cabinet officials, packing their purses and their bags with all the cash they can carry, and they're making their flights out of the country, that's when we'll know.
Right.
I think that's when we'll know that they have come to the realization they have ridden this horse until it was back broken. I don't know. It is insane, and I am still dumbfounded by the hold that for some people, some citizens, some people that voted for this. I am still dumbfounded as to how they can continue to support Donald Trump in light of the tariffs and how it's destroying, how it is basically just reducing our economy from. I mean, we lost what, 2.5 points on the Dow yesterday or something like that, and the futures this morning are already down.
I mean, I am rereading some quotes that some of my MAGA enthusiasts have written. The day that Trump revoked those tariffs, when he caved in, and then the stock market went up 2,500 points in recovery, and they started running around, greatest increase in the stock market in history, not knowing that there was an even greater decline that preceded it. But now all of those gains are gone.
Yeah.
So now what? Right?
Yeah.
What tweet, what Truth Social post, what action could Trump possibly take that will reinstore faith in the American economy? All of it's gone now, and I don't think it's coming back anytime soon.
I don't think it is either. What does an economy, a COVID economy look like in a non-COVID period?
Exactly.
That is the question I think people need to continue to ask, is what is this going to look like without the excuse of not having the shipping, not having the commerce, not having people driving to work? What is the economy? What is the excuse for an economy that dips down to 19,000 or in over the course of the next 6 months? Like if we lose 30% of the value, which ultimately I think somebody said comes out to something like $22 trillion, 23 trillion dollars over the course of that drop from 34 all the way down to like 19,000. What does that look like without the excuse of COVID? Like, are we going to have to engineer some sort of a pandemic in order to say, well, that's why this happened?
And we now have $200+ billion of national income at risk.
Oh yeah,
because of foreign tourism is now drying up faster than you can imagine.
Yeah.
The United States has been put on a travel advisory list among our allies, saying don't go to our country. And we're supposed to be hosting an Olympics. We're supposed to be hosting some sort of soccer tournament, World Cup tournament.
Yeah.
And forget it. All that money is dry. And that's 100% profit. That's external money coming into our country. And now that's drying up. So where are we doing this budget deficit reduction? Where are we doing this debt reduction? None of it's happening because we're squeezing out all of these valuable sources of income, and it's being offset by nothing. And nothing's been saved, by the way. This administration has spent more than Biden did last year.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I still haven't seen a single Department of Justice criminal investigation into any of the fraud that Doge was reporting going on.
All this fraud, nobody charged. Look at all that fraud. Hey, I've seen a trend on my social medias, and maybe it's just Chinese propaganda being pushed into the U.S., which is perfectly possible. But you should be able to, or they're encouraging you to purchase goods directly from Chinese manufacturers.
I've seen some of that.
You want your detergent pods for washing machines. You want clothing or bags or shoes. You can buy them direct from China.
Yep.
And then you not only get a discount, you bypass all the tariffs and you're just buying it cheap. But I'm wondering if anybody's actually done that. I don't know anybody who has. I mean, I've known people who bought shit on Temu, and then what comes in the mail is always hilarious. but I don't know anybody who's decided to buy their Nikes directly from China, or
I
whatever.
gave up Tide Pods for Lent this year.
You gave up washing your clothes for Lent.
Sure.
Okay.
Or chewing on them, whatever. Little candies. I am not advocating for anyone to try chewing or eating their Tide Pods. That is a bad idea.
Trust me, you are not that big of a social influencer that you're going to be creating your own trend. Let's not get ahead of ourselves there, Mr. Big Media.
Facts. Yeah, I would probably, between the two of us, I would very likely be the first one to try and order something direct from China or from like and I don't know exactly how it works. If you're ordering it through a website or what you're doing, I guess what I've envisioned is that I put in an order. Somebody literally.
I would hesitate to stick my credit card information on a Chinese website that I can't read.
Sure. Yeah.
I would have a little bit of hesitation, just a wee bit.
Google translates almost there. With you pull up their website and you ask it to translate the web page. I see some flaws, but for the most part, it seems to work out. Last thing before we get out of here for the morning, I wanted to tell you I have my Montreal cognitive assessment test that I am hoping that my psychologist friend is going to administer for me. I have not looked through it yet. I've not read over it because I don't want there to be any hints or anything like that. I want this to be completely natural. I am going to take the same cognitive test that Donald Trump, this is the same version that he apparently took a couple weeks ago at Walter Reed. And that is going to be on the future episode of the podcast, the All About Nothing. And I'm hoping I ace it.
Although, and if you don't, let's put a little bit of skin in the game. If you don't ace it, if you come in lower than standard, what will you do?
That's a great question. I think we should leave that up to. I think that we should leave. Well, if you have a challenge that I could potentially fall victim to. All
right, let's say that if you don't pass it or you get below a certain score, we'll have to figure out what that score is. Then you will have to do a live broadcast from a kickball game and do play-by-play if you lose. So let's put that on the table.
Just for the record, I actually enjoyed doing that. It was legitimately a lot of fun, and we actually are going to be doing that for Everplay.
I'll tell you what, I listened to that, and I think the most amazing part was how, and I forget your friend's name who runs the whole thing. What's his name?
Alex Adler.
All right, Alex was there co-broadcasting with you, right? Doing the play-by-play, sitting next to you. And how he took it so seriously.
He did.
And was talking about techniques and spin and, that third baseman did not go after the right angle. I mean, like, this is kickball. This is awesome. He is treating this as if he's the color commentary analyst who's got years of experience in the game, or maybe he's a retired player himself.
And
awesome.
And legitimately, he does take it that seriously. And there are one of the reasons that I don't play anymore is because there are legitimately players that take it so seriously. It's kind of like I've got bowling tonight. There are
like, what would I do if I was broadcasting? I'd be like, and he kicked with his left foot. I wouldn't know what to broadcast, but he had all the facts.
For the most part, I think I just tried to do, balls and strikes here, or kick right center field, caught by, because there's 11 players out there in the field. There's virtually no space that someone can't get to within microseconds of the ball coming off somebody's foot. Like, there's nowhere for you to kick the ball. That's why you see, if you go back and you watch the video, you see so many people bunting. Even men will bunt.
Me was great with her,
that was fantastic.
out in the field interviews. I thought she was very professional. The only thing that brought that down was you, to be quite honest.
That's fair.
But all of your cohorts, I could have been listening to an MLB game.
Well, on that disappointing news.
Hey, I'll throw another announcement. Black, White, and Blue in the South does have an episode dropping tomorrow, and I will say that you actually feature on it.
I feature. That's
you are on it. Your voice appears on our episode tomorrow.
Tomorrow is do you want to give us a little bit more? This episode coming out this week? Is this a sort of a best of?
It is indeed. So we are on spring break. So we've compiled a best of consisting of, I think, about a dozen or better yet clips. And you are in one of them.
Those are the
tune
best.
in, listen in, and boy, I had fun listening back to it. There is some funny
yet.
crap that's gone down in the past year.
Or better yet.
So it's fun.
I love those. Those are so good. And such a and such a entertaining way to start the show. So what you do with that is fantastic. So check that out. It's Black, White, Blue in the South, available wherever you listen to podcasts, as well on YouTube. You can find those on the YouTube channel as well. So Bill, thank you very much. That's going to wrap it up for today. I appreciate it. Big thanks for everybody tuning in. Don't forget, you can follow me at Barrett Gruber and Mr. Bill here at politicalbillsc. And I keep saying Mr. Bill, and every time I say that in my head, I go, oh no.
The number of people that know that reference are decreasing every day. Just hate to tell you. There's only a handful left that even know what the hell you just said.
I know. It's weird, right? You can catch us live every Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 a.m. Eastern. Until next time, you all stay safe, be kind, and keep your hands to yourself. Good.